Okay, I'm live. I actually wanted to use a different camera. I don't know if I can change it while I'm in here. Let's see. I don't think so. Ah. Interesting. It's so funny because yes, or like a few days ago, when I had the intention to record this video, I was like, this time I want to put some more effort into it. I had a little chat with my brother, and he gave me feedback, encouraged me to put in more effort, to make it more interesting to watch and so on. And I would love to. At the same time, it's not that high a priority. But I was like, this time let me take a few hours and rather than maybe 30 minutes, an hour, 1.5, edit the video a little bit, prepare some presentation again, make it a little bit more nice and relevant. But then today something else came up. It's Sunday, it's the 4th, so I'm already a few days after the month. And I have around 20 more minutes before I need to leave the house. So I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm streaming directly to YouTube, maybe for the first time, I'm not sure. And experimenting with that. A few things I want to share. I want to start with a big realization that I had. I'm not 100% sure if I mentioned it last month again in the video, but it's also good for me to integrate that realization more and remind myself more of it. The realization came when I was standing on our balcony and I was looking down at the river. You can see it actually now from this perspective a little bit here in the background. And then over there is this bridge. It looks like the bridge in where is it? San Francisco? Is it a Golden Gate Bridge? The red one. And I was reflecting that back home in Germany, where I grew up, in Stuttgart, which is a city in a valley. There's those kind of hills, mountains around it. And of course, all the amazing, beautiful houses are up on the hill and you have a nice view and so on. And very often I was like, oh, if I would ever, want a house here, it would be somewhere with a view. And right now, I love this view. It's an amazing view. But then sometimes we were wondering, Diara and I, or even just myself, like, how would it be to live a little bit higher up in the building? The view would be even better. And just that comparison took away some of the gratitude and appreciation for what's already there. And I found it so absurd that, let me see if that works. If I share my screen here. So if I would live here on the top floor and imagine this is just a random image I found, but this would overlook, whatever beautiful area. And you would feel like, well, I've made it, right? I'm on top of it. And then nothing of the view itself would change if there were a few more apartments on top. But just by comparing, from here to all the way to the top, like, there's still more. There's someone who has a better view, a better apartment. And of course, it can be used as a metaphor, right? It's not just about the view of an apartment, but I find that so. There we go. We're back. So fascinating how, at least I, maybe other people as well, have often this. Yeah, well, what else? There's more, and we want to improve, have a better life, better apartment, more money, like more health, more fitness, more muscles, more freedom, less fights in the relationship, whatever it is. And yeah, and then there's this the lack of gratitude and just like, I've already made it. My life is already so amazing. And yeah, so trying to remember that as much as possible. Portuguese, I have my weekly lessons, one-on-one, but I feel like the progress is not really that fast. I don't often find so much time in between to just practice. I have been practicing with ChatGPT and just ask it to give me certain exercises. That's been very cool. But I'm feeling it might be a really good idea to sign up for an intensive, and then for a few weeks, every single day, 3 hours. So maybe I'm going to do that in the next few months. Working out in the last months hasn't been that good. I worked out a few times, but not that often. I canceled my gym membership because I don't know, didn't want to go to the gym. I think with a workout friend buddy, that could be cool. But yeah, haven't really found the person, haven't also looked super proactively. But I did go outside in the park. I have this steel mace, and I want to do that more often. And there are those primal movement classes that I want to check out. Working out in community, more movement flow. I think that could be fun. I could like that, and also maybe in a way a healthier, more holistic way to work out rather than gym machines and so on. I started my SIBO protocol since 2-3 weeks. So I'm taking herbal supplements in the morning and the evening, garlic extract, and then some kind of probiotic as well, and the low FODMAP diet, which means I can't really eat out at the moment easily. The last few days, which technically was in May, but the last Friday and Saturday, today Sunday, there was this conscious health summit. Exactly. So kind of like a biohacking meets ancient traditions type of conference. I was volunteering there, and I also had to bring my own food. Everyone else went out, for lunch and so on. But yeah, it was a cool experience. Last night there was a party, after party, with no alcohol. And I don't know exactly why, but I woke up with a headache, and I still have a headache, and I feel pretty low right now. But that happened. And then this morning, Diara and I had our relationship check-in, which we skipped last time. So I think it has been a month, but usually we're doing it every 2 weeks. Today we realized it would be good to do it more often, maybe even weekly. And the format that we're using is each person gets 15 minutes uninterrupted sharing about how we feel about our relationship, ourselves, our lives. Yeah, we have a few questions that we can use to kind of prompt us. Yeah, and I think it would be really good for us to have some kind of business coach who can work with both of us individually, but who sees the whole picture of how our kind of business or how we are overlapping in our business, but also what our own desires are. So yeah, kind of just opening ourselves for that person to meet someone, maybe to look for someone. I have a few Facebook groups that I'm in with coaches, but let's see. One other shift that Diara went through is that maybe we are not planning to have children that soon. Yeah, just I don't know, taking out the pressure a little bit with like, okay, we're on this timeline, and part that got added to the mix was we're like, maybe we should buy a house because there are some incentives to buy a house before turning 36, which will be in December for Diara. And yeah, we're still exploring what the options are, if we would get a mortgage, what the interest rate would be, and so on. But yeah, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. Let's see. And then one other insight I want to share, or not an insight, some reflections I had was, so I was at this health summit, right? Sorry, my bottle fell. And I was just reflecting on how people live completely different lives in a really different world, right? Like in their day-to-day life, what they think about, what they do, it can be completely different. Of course, there's a lot of people who live very similar lives because we are part of the same society, same trends, same type of work and all of that. But there are still huge differences. For example, Conscious Health Summit, a lot of people are very very health oriented, longevity. They don't drink any alcohol, like just like me. Basically, I don't drink any alcohol anymore. For a lot of people, alcohol is a huge part of their life. Like it's a weekly thing on the weekends, in the evening, going out for beers and so on. And that's just this little part, right? Then you can imagine living in a city, having a 9 to 5 job, or working from home. That's completely different. Watching Netflix or YouTube videos or social media content versus people who just don't do that at all, right? They still exist, maybe older generations for the most part, but it's like every day the normal person, the average person interacts with those social media platforms, contents. And while I was reflecting on, it can be so different, and even like the worldviews we have, like more spiritual worldviews, more materialistic worldviews, or science is the only truth, or within religions, it's so interesting how we can live at the same time on the same planet and have a completely different life experience. And then when I was reflecting, what do I want for myself, right? And I've reflected on that multiple times before, but it was good to just tune in again. And what I want is, I don't want to consume short form content. I don't want to watch series or movies. Maybe once a month, or if there's like a special movie recommendation that, covers an interesting topic or interesting emotions, or there's like an art to it, or a documentary. But we already don't have a TV at home, and I will never want to have a TV in my home again. But also not watching stuff on the laptop, and especially no short form content that the algorithm shows me, rather than me deciding what I want to learn more about. And then right now, at least, I feel like going out to events, there's a lot of events here. We have a big community of people, and they do events, they're facilitating, they're inviting. I mean, like, also maybe once a month to kind of connect to the wider community. But then I would rather spend my time, with 3, 4 closer friends, and then go on a camping trip for 2 days, or spend like really high quality time together, where you really meet people in a deeper way, and you really get to know them in a deeper way. Because there's a lot of people that I see, that I like. We're hanging out, and when we go to an event together, we're having a chat, but I don't really know them. I know them in this context, and that's not the whole breadth of knowing someone, right? If you go on a camping trip, for example, or whatever, any type of holiday or multiple days, you will meet someone in a much deeper way, which then creates more connection, more trust. And I want to live in a world where that's the default for me, that on the weekends or every few weeks we go on a 3-4 day trip, and yeah, I choose who I would love to spend more time with. Doing sports every single day with other people, like sports like racket sports that are just fun and train coordination and so on. Maybe some cardio, but then also some, like lifting heavy things, movement, stretching, all of that good stuff. Yeah. It has been a little bit challenging in the last days because I just have so many things that are kind of swirling around that I want to do, and all of them require time. Almost all of them require a financial investment. Just things I want to learn, things to invest in for our business, for my own personal growth, healing, all of those things. And yeah, that's still kind of swirling around. I think I started journaling more, which took an intention, and it did do that, and it did help with just clarifying some of those things. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm tired, and yeah, it's been good to read more. I'm still reading a fiction book, but it's almost done. Huge book, fantasy, super cool. And then I'm gonna read one or two personal development books again, and then maybe I'll continue that book series. Yeah, but we've gotten into a better rhythm of going to bed a little bit earlier. Yeah, and then I blocked YouTube on my phone because I was getting into a habit of in a break watching some YouTube videos or even YouTube shorts, same stuff as reels and all of that stuff. I installed Instagram again yesterday or the day before for the Conscious Health Summit. Gonna uninstall it again, and that feels good, like the right choice. All right. See you next month. Let's see how I can turn off this live stream here. Boom.